Hello troops, as always I am Vlad Shoots History, and today I shoot and know things about the Dragunov sniper rifle. Dragunov. During the Second World War, the Soviets essentially had two sniper rifles, the old Mosin and the Samozaryadnaya Vintovka Tokareva 40. The Samozaryadnaya Vintovka Tokareva 40 had accuracy problems. Almost all weapons that use a swinging shooter have inherent problems with vertical dispersion, but many chosen shooters preferred it. However, because it allowed, particularly at close range, very rapid successive shots. After the war, the Soviet army embarked on a large rearmament program for its own forces. If you've seen my video on the K-47, you probably already know what it's about. That is the replacement of all the weapons used by the infantry. The carbine that becomes the Samozaryadny Karabin Systemy, 45, the automatic weapon that goes from the Papasha to the K-47, and the light machine gun that will be the Rushnoi Pulemyot Degtyaryova. The program for the snipers lagged a bit behind, despite the many images we have of famous snipers, both men and women. For the Soviets, the snipers were not so important. There is an important distinction to be made here. There are two types of snipers. Often we say the laymen, or those who do not understand the subject very much, confuse them. First of all, there is the designated marksman, the chosen shooter, and the sniper properly said. What's the difference? Like the first one, the DEM. The designated marksman operates within an infantry team, while the second operates more infiltration behind enemy lines, often working alone, in pairs, or in a group of three. From the sniper, the marksman, properly speaking, one expects skills such as camouflage, long-distance shooting. The designated marksman, no. The designated marksman is a person who has armed himself with a rifle with greater precision than the infantry squad, but is expected to operate within the squad. In the 50s, NATO adopted a new standard rifle, which is the Fala-Tra in the United States. This is a story for another day. But anyway, all these standard weapons use full power cartridges, the 7.62 NATO, while the Soviets use almost all. An intermediate cartridge, which even though more advantageous in close combat. For two reasons, it's easier to use in rapid fire, and second reason, you can physically carry more ammunition because it weighs less. The Soviets felt at a disadvantage if the firefight were to occur at a distance greater than 300 meters. And it could happen that in the vast plains of Europe, or perhaps after a nice nuclear bombing, there would be very open spaces. So there was a need to give infantry teams a means to be more effective at distances greater than 300 meters. The Dragunov is this and should be understood in this light. The Dragunov is not a sniper rifle, but a designated marksman rifle. A sharpshooter who operates within a regular infantry team. Some say that the Dragunov is not accurate enough to be a sniper weapon, and that is only half the truth. Like with every firearm, it's a compromise of various needs. In 1957, a request was issued by the Soviet Armed Forces for precisely a marksman's rifle. There are essentially three models that are presented, one by Dragunov, one by Konstantinov, and one by Simonov. Simonov essentially designs a slightly larger Samozaryadny Karabin Systemy. We are at the end of the engineer's career, and his project is not the best. Essentially, it will mark the end of his retirement, now from the work of a firearms engineer. Konstantinov and Dragunov's models continue. Initially rivals, they gradually become friends, even collaborating on projects. In particular, Dragunov receives the help of Konstantinov in designing the magazine, while on the other hand, Dragunov, who was not only an engineer but was also a great shooter, he himself helps Konstantinov in the production of barrels. Dragunov, who is himself a good shooter, designs a very precise weapon. In the end, Dragunov's project is the one that will be chosen. The mechanics are very similar to the K, so they are familiar to both the troops and, for example, the gunsmiths. Who has to repair these weapons? Concerns arise, as always happens at the beginning of weapon production. Some problems. There are things that are not liked, and the main problem, in reality, is the ammunition. Dragunov, to design his weapon, uses commercial ammunition for races, very high quality and expensive ammunition. The army doesn't want to pay for these essentially ammunition, and so there's the ammunition problem for the Dragunov. The standard ones, used practically in machine guns, are not precise enough. Not just the rifling twist of the barrel. If you don't know what it is, watch my Guns 101 video where I explain this thing. The rifling twist is designed to work properly with competition ammunition, which is heavier than standard military rounds. The military then designs its own ammunition, called 7N-1, which replicates the ballistics of those competition rounds that Dragunov had used to design his weapon. There's a problem though. The rifling of the barrel, this very slow rifling twist, only works well with those rounds. While the sniper in the context of a team often finds himself having to use, first, the ammunition that is available, and second, specialized ammunition, such as tracers or armor-piercing rounds. And the performance with this type of ammunition, those machine gun, tracers, etc., is terrible in this rifling of the barrel. A decision must be made. So, either have an excellent and very precise sniper rifle, which however only works with one type of ammunition, or have a decent sniper rifle. But it works with all types of ammunition, and in '74 this change is made. The rifling step of the Dragunov changes. The rifling becomes faster, that is, it spins the bullet faster, but in this way it is sufficiently precise. With every type of ammunition, one does not expect great precision. Sniper rifles, as they say, a precision of under a minute of angle. I will explain in another video. Or all the concepts regarding precision is similar. The Dragunov essentially reaches 3 minutes of angle. So it's not as precise as a real sniper rifle, but it doesn't have to be. It works in an infantry team, it has to be precise. From 300 to 600 meters. Precise enough, and precise enough it is. You will never win us in competitions where you shoot at 1,000 meters where every little detail counts. No, it's a combat rifle, another thing that, for example, shows that it was designed to be used during combat. On the barrel, there's the bayonet mount, yes, because if you make the mount on the bayonet, the sniper, who is part of the team, must be able to participate. The optics, on the other hand, are designed separately. It's the PSO. One here, you see it with this red adaptive tape that was put here by the range, essentially to block the optics adjustments. Because inexperienced people, essentially, a lot of inexperienced people who have never shot, come here, see this cool thing, and want to use it. They often start to play, to bang these things in the rifle, then they shoot a bit haphazardly, we would say. And that obviously is not good. So they blocked Porca, the whore, they left the door open. I assure you that the most impressive thing that happens to people when they come to shoot for the first time is understanding how numerous the weapons are. I'm 10 meters from the firing line, essentially, and with the door open, it's hurting my ear. To tell you, these are just pistols. The weapon also has metal sights, but I assure you they are very difficult to see. I would have to get closer here below to correctly see the metal sights, so they are practically unusable. The weapon is successful, a stereotypical, solid and simple Soviet construction. Essentially an automat Kalashnikova action, except for the gas piston, which is a so-called short stroke, like on the Samozaryadnaya Vintovka Tokareva, 40 rather than long stroke, like in the automat Kalashnikova K. Now let's take a closer look at what this is all about. The Dragunov is a semi-automatic sniper rifle, which is essentially based on the Kalashnikov system. It has a removable 10-round magazine, which is like the Kalashnikov. It's a nose-in-rock back type. From the left side, we can clearly see the rail for mounting the optics, while from the right side, we have the bolt, the safety, and the disassembly lever. Obviously, the trigger is always present here. Moving back, we have this stock that looks a bit strange, but it's actually very comfortable to use. Here we can attach the belt. Further ahead, there are adjustable bed-ending sights, but as I told you, they are almost unusable. If there is the optics, the gas grip, the barrel with the bayonet attachment underneath. Disassembling it is very easy and it's practically made like a Kalashnikov. First, ensure the safety is disengaged. Obviously, I've already checked that there's no ammunition inside. We can remove the magazine. We need to cock the weapon so that the internal hammer doesn't interfere with the disassembly. And then we can rotate it 180 degrees. This lever once this lever is rotated, the rear cover comes off. So we can then pull out the bolt carrier with the shutter that is practically identical to that of the Kalashnikov. It's just a slightly enlarged version. In the bolt carrier, we see the track that rotates the shutter when it goes into position. The bolt carrier is operated by the gas piston, which is powered by gas from the barrel. Inside we can see, let me find a good angle, the trigger group with the hammer here. Apart from that, the construction is of milled steel, not stamped, because it needs to be a bit more solid and a bit more precise in tolerances. But apart from that, it reminds you in every way of a hood. As you can see, even disassembly is very easy, and to reassemble it, we just have to do the reverse process. If only I had positioned the shutter correctly, it should be forward, the shutter goes back, we can reinsert the recoil spring with the cover. Once replaced, we simply rotate the lever 180 degrees. And the weapon is ready to function again. Well, I think it's time for a good firing test now. As always, we start by loading the magazines. Well, we can load the weapon and get started. What can I say? It's very pleasant to use, much better than the Mosin, trivially, which has the same ammunition. I must say that the optics are at 25 meters, and it's going crazy, so I don't even know where I hit. Because really seeing something is impossible, and using the metal sights, as I've already told you, is very difficult. Thanks for watching this video, and see you next time.